Hi, this is Garibay, and today I'm going to be talking about how to identify when you are practicing entitlement, okay? And the reason why I'm saying this is so that we can avoid practicing entitlement. We really should not practice entitlement. As much as possible, we should be wary of that, and we should avoid it, okay? All right, so I've been really thinking a lot lately about self-awareness, and it's really a really unique aspect of our culture. And I think self-awareness becomes more and more important every day, okay? All right, so the reason why I'm talking about practicing entitlement is I recognized I was recently listening to a business guru. I think that's, this gentleman's name is Simon Sinek. So Simon Sinek, he's very hard to say exactly what he is. He might be a business consultant, a business guru. He's an author. He's an entrepreneur. He's an IT veteran. He's been in the IT field for a while. Very, very smart guy. And, just really a solid, very, very, very smart guy. He recently got quite a bit of fame recently by really diagnosing what was happening with millennials in the modern workspace. Right? So you should definitely check out his content. He's very, very smart. I'm really fascinated by him, actually. I would say that I really like listening to him. I think he's very, very smart. And one of the things he's interesting is if he says three things, two of them are going to be dead on right, and one of them actually may be prophetic, like really seeing into the future. This guy is very, very good at looking at our culture and seeing what's going to happen next. And also analyzing why we have the problems we have right now, which is difficult because a lot of people aren't really aware of why we have the problems we have right now. And I think he's very good at that, right? But one of those three is going to be wrong. And the reason why that is not because he like I said, he's extremely smart. The reason why one of the things is wrong is he's always looking at what's next, and he's willing to give his opinion on things in flight, in real time, right? And he's just very, very interesting guy. Check out what he says, right? So I recognized in one of he told two interconnected stories, and I'll explain what they were. And then he said something that, in my opinion, I was able to identify that he was practicing entitlement, right? Now, it's easy for me to come along and Monday morning quarterback him and see him practicing entitlement, even when he clearly didn't see it. But the reason why I'm trying to take the moment to recognize is not a call out Simon Sinek. Simon Sinek is a brilliant guy. I think his stuff it's really worth listening to what he has to say and picking out and saying this is valuable and this is not, right? You should do that with any speaker, right? So, but the point is, I think if we identify, he gave a perfect example of when you're practicing entitlement. And I thought it was worth identifying that and then determining how can we make sure we're not doing that, right? Or what are the lessons from these two stories? So here's the stories. So he goes out to like a 5K with his buddy, and the two of them run the 5K. When they're done, there's a company giving out free bagels there, to the people who have run the 5K. And so he says, or some kind of sports activity, right? So he says to his buddy, "Hey, free bagels." And his buddy goes, "Oh, look at that line. It's very long," right? And he's like, "Free bagels." And his buddy's like, "Ugh, the line. I don't want to." And then, so Sinek said, and this was really smart observation, he said, some people see the goal and some people see the obstacle, right? And that's a great point, right? So that was his, business guru point, right? But then he went on to tell more business guru-y information, which I thought, whoa, wait, right? So he said, well, so here's how I solved this problem, right? And he said, so what I did was I saw the big line. So I went up and skipped the line, and I went right to the box of bagels, and I put my hand in, and I grabbed two bagels, and then I jetted out, right? Real quick. Now, I didn't get to pick which bagels I wanted, right? I just grabbed two bagels with my hand. I didn't know if I was getting rum raisin or, blueberry or plain, right? So I also didn't get to put any schmear on it or anything like that. And he said, Now, what I was doing is, he said, I solved the problem, right? So we got the goal, and we overcame the obstacle. Now, the reason I was able to do that is you can go around an obstacle, right? You can do an end run around an obstacle as long as you don't stop someone else from getting the goal, right? And so he was saying it was okay for me to do this because I did not stop anyone else from getting the goal, right? And so I immediately thought about this. And one, I have seen exactly what he's done. And I am not happy when I see it. Not happy at all, right? And so I think very clearly in this circumstance where he went around the line, went up to the side of the table, grabbed 2 bagels out of the box, and then, and then continued on. I thought what that is just absolute classic practicing entitlement, okay? Now, here's why, okay? So one, what he didn't recognize is when you do something, if you then think, okay, I took this action and it worked out fine, but if everyone did what I did, is that scalable? Does it hold, right? So think about it, right? If everyone in that line just said, if even half of the people in the line said, oh, we don't need to do a line, and then they all went up around the table and started, grabbing out bagels without looking, what does that look like? Well, one, it looks like a whole bunch of people walking away with a bagel with no schmear. It looks like, and then if you jam up, let's say there's 30 people in line, if you jam up 10 of them around that table, and then there's 2 more, and they're pushing in, right? That's going to get ugly real fast. It's not scalable. It's absolutely not scalable. So one way to recognize when you're practicing entitlement is think, if everybody did what I'm doing right now, would that be scalable, right? And if the answer is no, you really shouldn't be doing what you're doing. That's just a very clear fact, in my opinion. In addition to that, so that is really important to understand. And then the other part is when everybody can't do what you're doing, if everybody does what you're doing, it becomes unscalable. You shouldn't be doing that thing. And there's a very good chance you are practicing entitlement. Here's the next one. He rationalized what he did, right? So he said, I didn't stop anybody else from getting their goal, but he doesn't know that's true, right? Basically, when he's all, he doesn't know how many bagels they're going to put out, and he doesn't know how long that line's going to be. If there's 2 people at the end who don't get a bagel, then he did stop people from getting the goal, right? So he had to rationalize what he was doing. So if you find yourself rationalizing what you're doing, then there's a very good chance that that you're practicing entitlement. So we can recognize when we're practicing entitlement by recognizing that if everybody does what we are doing, right, and it becomes unscalable, then we are most likely practicing entitlement. And then also, if we need to rationalize what we're doing, there's a very good chance that we are practicing entitlement. So that's me just kind of giving a couple tips on how to recognize when you're practicing entitlement. I actually do want to make sure everybody understands. I definitely think you should take a look at Simon Sinek's content. He's a brilliant, brilliant man. He makes some incredibly good points. He's not always right, but he's always observant, and he's always interesting. Really interesting guy. Take care.